Welcome to War of the Stars, a Star Wars podcast, coming to you every week from deep within the Outer Rim, far beyond the watchful ice of the Galactic Empire. Join your hosts, John Mark Tolley, Garrett K. Jones, and Brian Karasik, as they discuss the various facets of the saga's lore, characters, review the films, and discuss every tidbit of news coming out of Lucasfilm. And remember, this isn't just my Star Wars, this isn't just your Star Wars, this is our Star Wars. And welcome back, everyone, to another riveting edition of War of the Stars, a Star Wars podcast. And once again, we're joined by Brian. Welcome back, man. We missed you last week.
Hello. Yes, I missed you guys as well. I was stranded in the distant region of IKEA.
People usually do pay big money for that.
It's unfortunate, too. I was telling my daughter, honey, we got to hurry. If we're here when the sun goes down, they make you work here for 20 years. And then, conveniently, the person ringing us up looked a lot like someone we saw shopping earlier in the day. I was like, honey, look, it's that guy. And she's like, Dad, are you serious right now? Dad, are you being serious? I was like, I think that's him. I think it really is.
Oh, jeez.
Luckily, my daughter knows me well enough by now that she's 90% of the time I make a face. Like if I make I'm being serious right now face, she knows I'm not.
Yeah.
But at any rate, yes, I am sorry to miss it. I missed it.
Yeah, I told him that he missed the opportunity to have Brian squared.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, that would have been. Though I don't know if the galaxy can handle two Brians in one. I don't know if there's some sort of
it's inadvisable in most conditions.
Yeah. Too many Brians are.
Yeah. Last week we were talking about the different Star Wars novels and books that have been on our reading lists, and Brian will ask you about that later towards the end of the episode. But this week we are talking TechTalk again, and part of the theme for the month is droids, and so we're going to be talking about the technical specifications of droids.
Yes. It's interesting to look at droids. We kind of talked about droids a couple weeks ago, but I don't know if you guys remember the old commercial. There's an app for that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it seems like in the Star Wars universe, there's a droid for that. There's a droid for everything imaginable that you might need, or you might, any type of, and they seem to be very, like, even the poorest of the poor in the Star Wars universe have droids.
The economy of the Star Wars universe is hard to gauge.
Yeah.
I see a lot, like, how much would it cost to build the Death Star, like how many US dollars the Death Star costs. But, like, realistically, in episode 4, we see a high school kid sell his used car in exchange for interstellar travel. So, like, there's not a scale we can compare it to.
Yeah.
Think of the number of droids. As you say, everybody's got one. There have been at least 2 near droid apocalypses in Star Wars history, one in the expanded universe and then one in current canon, that most of the galaxy was completely unaware of. You guys have read Tales of the Bounty Hunters, right?
I have.
An old EU. So in Tales of the Bounty Hunters, the old EU, there is a short story wherein IG-88 copies his personality into 4 bodies. IG-88, A, B, C, and D. And one of those personalities ends up getting uploaded into the first Death Star and is about to take control of the Death Star when it is blown up. But meanwhile, another of the I forget which one, but another one of those IG-88s has taken over one of the major droid production facilities. It's like a planetary droid factory, and it's just producing a planet worth of droids, all of which are subjugated with this Order 66 level droid slave code that basically IG-88 can throw a switch and make every droid in the galaxy an IG-88 slave unit. And that's all taken away when Death Star 2 is destroyed, obliterating IG-88's code. And then I just finished reading the most recent Vader comic series, and there was a droid plague. Also, all the droids taken over by some evil entity controlling them all. So it's this ubiquitous race of droids everywhere that can be so easily controlled by, a virus. I think could really lead to some interesting storylines down the way.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it would be Skynet, all over the place.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I'm looking here. It's interesting because, a few weeks ago we were talking about droids and whether or not they're considered sentient beings, or if it's just the AI programming them to think like that, and whether or not they're really alive and have any kind of free will. But what's interesting is droids are actually put into classifications. You've got your first. I'm going to put it up here on the screen here, so that
break it down, Garrett,
so that you guys can see what I'm looking at here. But you've got your first class droids, which are made up of they're skilled in mathematical, physical, and medical sciences. So surgical droids, midwife droids, medicine droids, stuff like that. That's
the midwife droids.
Which is weird because, what is a midwife droid going to do? I mean, the whole purpose of midwives is that they help with delivering babies, but they also serve as kind of a wet nurse. And how do you get a wet nurse out of a droid? Wait, you know what? Scratch that. I don't want to even know the answer.
Yeah,
it's an awkward.
You don't want to know that.
It's an awkward implement, but it is dishwasher safe.
Anyway, then you've got your second class droids, which were skilled in engineering and technical sciences. So these are going to be your pit droids, your treadwells, your basically your power droids. Then you've got your third class. These are skilled in social sciences, so security droids, luxury droid. I've never heard of a luxury droid before. Valet droids. I would assume
sounds sticky.
Yeah, it does. And I would assume at some level this is where you're going to have your protocol droids as well, because they're social. Then you've got fourth class, which includes guardian, police droids, security droids, and battle droids of various kind. And then you've got your fifth class, which are your Gonks series power droids, your repair droids, your pincer loader droids, and anything basically that does the mechanics work.
I'm not seeing your screen, Garrett. What's the source of this?
This is coming from Wikipedia.
Okay, a couple of those were in a couple of categories.
What the heck? That's weird. It's black on my end, but that's so weird. I apologize.
It happens.
Really, it does.
I think I'm frozen, but
yeah, you've got that whole carbonite effect going on.
Can you hear me at least?
We can hear you.
Okay, you guys are frozen too, but as long as we can hear each other.
Oh wait, I've got carbonite deafness. No, I'm just kidding. I can hear you.
So I think there may have been something going on with the anyway. So different droids are classified based upon their skill set and how they're designed and what their function is supposed to be. So this is kind of wild.
Yeah.
As with most things, I got to relate this back to Darth Plagueis. We meet 114D, who is a medical droid with some protocol droid training, and we see basically Plagueis just bolts a bunch of extra memory nodules onto this thing, and it becomes a walking Sith library. So there appears to be some upward mobility in these classes where they can expand their memories and as well as their capacity for work. Do you know of any other? So 114D was a protocol droid that became a medical droid, and sort of by virtue of that became a Sith operative. But then also 4LOM was a protocol droid that became an assassin droid / bounty hunter.
Right.
I'm trying to think of some others that may have expanded their role.
Well, I mean, think of 000. I mean, 000 had been originally designed as a protocol droid, and I mean, granted, he had been repurposed and reprogrammed.
I'm not sure about that. Was he?
That was my understanding. Was 000
Not the yogurt. Folks at home, Oikos makes a 000 high protein, non-fat Greek yogurt. If you Google 000, you will get. There we
go. So my question into my search here is: was he repurposed from being a protocol droid, or did he change his programming?
Okay. Initially intended to create a standard protocol droid, the matrix became dangerous due to its psychotic nature. Okay, so yeah, my mistake. It's been a little while. Carry on, please.
Yeah. So yeah, he was created centuries. So he's a centuries old droid, like, and that's part of the reason why he went insane is that he was a corrupted AI. He was dealing with rampancy rather than thinking himself to death like a smart AI would, because he wasn't exactly a smart AI. He basically just corrupted and
don't listen, Trip. He doesn't know what he's talking about.
And started considering sentient beings and organic beings worth killing. And so he did get repurposed by Dr. Afra, but and she inserted the matrix into a protocol droid body. But
Leia calls him Creepio. It's really funny.
Yeah. So I'm kind of curious as to what his initial chassis looked like, because that would have been very interesting.
He's pretty comfortable in the protocol droid chassis. I always got the sense that he was pretty much made for a C3 chassis.
Yeah.
But that also could have just come from time and experience too.
Yeah. Yeah, it's. I mean, do we have a lot on the technical aspects of droids, like how they're made and how? Because we see the insides of them, but I don't know if we really get into the weeds of like the matrix and how everything works
and what goes into installing an extra pair of arms. Like how hard is it?
Yeah.
We talked on a recent show about Mr. Bones in the Aftermath series by Chuck Wendig.
Yeah.
Mr. Bones has some flashbacks where he reminisces to a time where he remembers having 4 arms. So we are led to believe that there's some General Grievous code patched in there. Yes. But I always think that was interesting. Like, of course, if you're a droid, having 4 arms is no more difficult than having 2. It just comes with the code.
So I'm looking here, and according to my research here, and I hate to sound like that kid from Magic School Bus, according to my research, they originated thousands of years before the Battle of Yavin, approximately 30,000 plus years. I think they predate the Sith. By
in the
species, not the Sith religion.
Yeah, when we in the book that I just got done reading, the Dawn of the Jedi, she has a droid, and this takes place like 25,000 years before the Battle of Yavin.
Yeah.
So she had a droid. She had a droid then. It almost is described as a precursor to a Gonk droid, like a combination of if a Gonk droid and an R2 had a baby.
Gotcha.
So it's got like the personality of an R2, but with the closer to a body chassis of a Gonk.
Okay, so one of what I'm seeing here, one of the earliest species to ever put or employ droids into production and use was a species called the Gree.
Yes,
who are Okay, they're cephalopodic species. They are a type 2 atmosphere breather. So we're not entirely sure what their atmosphere is. But they're short. They're just shy of being about the same size as a human. But yeah, they're from the Outer Rim territories, and they were some of the first to include using droids in their day-to-day lives. And
it's funny. It's quite a claim to fame to be the first species in the whole galaxy to be like, you know what? It would be cool if somebody else were here to do this work.
Well, they didn't just use droids in their civilization. They were the first to use droid armies.
Oh,
specifically, the Infinite Empire or the Rakata heavily used droids produced by the Starforge for security and for labor.
That's a group we need to talk about later. Is the Rakatan Empire, because they were just nasty.
And basically, the function of a droid was basically to handle all the mundane or dangerous tasks that humans couldn't.
Yeah. And
because they had the sophistication and processing ability of an AI, they were able to do things a lot faster without wearing out, without being tired. You just had to replace and repair them as necessary.
Yeah.
And most droids were semi-intelligent.
Yeah, it makes sense, if you're wanting them to do complex jobs, that you want some semblance of intelligence so that they can problem solve and work, or things like that. Especially if you're, like I said, working with complex issues, and or you're going into battle. You need them to problem solve, come up with complex scenarios and ideas, and so it makes sense that you would give some sort of intelligence and problem solving ability.
Meanwhile, every time I ask my robots for help, they just tell me they can't find the Wi-Fi signal and I have to try again later.
Yeah, I've been there.
I got something. This is kind of crossing the wires, but we have some friends of ours who they named their Roomba Dobby.
Oh, nice.
And I made the joke of, don't give it a sock, otherwise it will stop working. And just...
Yeah.
Pretty accurate.
If I ever get an autograph from Jason Isaacs, he's autographing a sock, that's for sure. That's not to digress, but this is kind of my brand. That's if I ever get a Hayden Christensen autograph, I'm going to have him autograph a jar of spaghetti sauce.
You said that before, yeah.
Okay, good. Just making sure we're all on the same page. I got to disable this camera thing on my computer. That is very unnerving.
Where it's following you?
Yeah, it pans around. Although I do like having my cane here and then my McDiarmid pictures here.
There it goes. It listened to you, Brian.
It's thinking. So I know that I have harped on the Gonk droid's pain sensors in its feet in Return of the Jedi, but I did see something funny along those same lines. Like for every evil droid in sci-fi, there's an engineer somewhere who installed red LEDs in its eyes. Like, well, let's put red LEDs in, like just in case.
Yep. Yeah, it's kind of weird because, like, I mean, you've got these characters that are essentially slave labor. They're essentially doing all the things that nobody really wants to do or has the capacity for doing. I mean, let's just take protocol droids, for example. Protocol droids are indentured servants working as butlers, as tour guides, doing protocol for a number of different species. They operate as translators, and like that is pretty much the bulk of their existence, and they don't get much of a say.
Yeah,
their whole life is watching idiots talk to other idiots.
Pretty much.
That's how they have to see it, like morons talking to other morons in ways that they cannot understand each other.
Yeah.
And imagine if all the protocol droids got together and like, you know what, guys, we could probably bring down the whole galaxy if we just mistranslate a few things.
Oh God!
You think that Galactic Civil War was bad?
Oh man, like, and think about how many billions, if not trillions, of droids there are throughout the entire galaxy.
Yeah,
like
you said, everybody's got one.
So
if on Earth, everybody on Earth's phone suddenly rebelled against them.
So here's the, like, everyone talks about like how the idea of AI and how it would do that uprising and it would just nuke us out of existence. And yeah, it could do that theoretically if everything's going according to James Cameron. But think of it on a much grander, more galactic scale. And the only thing that I know of that has done this, and you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, but in the Halo franchise, okay, in the last 3 major games in the core games, the character Cortana is suffering from rampancy at the beginning and through the majority of Halo 4. She ends up sacrificing herself to save Master Chief, and ends up obliterating herself in this huge, massive starship while she's plugged into its systems. What ends up happening is her code gets sent through what's called the domain. It's basically this ancient forerunner technology. Basically, it's their version of the internet. All data, all information, and it actually cures her of the rampancy, but it solidifies some things in her head and allows her to engage in making a corporeal form that isn't just, ones and zeros and lights and all that. It's a physical, tangible form. But it also gives her control over planetary systems called the Guardians, which is where the Halo 5 Guardian style comes from. And she uses these she starts summoning them to police the galaxy. And if planets choose to not fall in line, she uses them to EMP their entire planetary system. Or in the case of one planet in between Halo 5 and Halo Infinite, she destroys it, like physically cracks it open with one Guardian. She also communicates with AIs all across, not just human AIs, but Sangheili AIs, Jiralhanae, various different alien species and their pre-programmed AIs. She is contacting them and getting them to join her. And they're calling themselves the Created. Now imagine something like that happening in Star Wars.
I'd watch that movie. I'd watch all 3 of those movies.
It would be way more intense than I think even someone as determined and as calculating as Palpatine would be.
Oh yeah. Well, imagine if, like, the Battledroids, and the battle commanders had decided to turn on the separatist, and their separatist leaders. How would they have protected themselves? They wouldn't have. It's not like they had a human army that they could use to. Right. I think that's why you have they invented things like restraining bolts and probably backdoor programs that they could just press a button and be.
Well, that's why in Battlestar Galactica there's no wireless communication. There's no computers that talk, no machines that think.
Because the Cylons will get a hold of it.
Right. Because the Cylons machines that think became the Cylons. So yeah, that's an interesting topic, and you don't have to look far in any sci-fi franchise to find the mechanoids, the Cylons, I don't know, the mechanoids might be a bit of a deep cut. Yeah, the Borg. Thank you.
The replicators.
The replicators.
Yeah. Oh, speaking of the Borg, you're gonna get a kick out of this. There's a new series of videos I found on Instagram, and it's this dude running tech support for various villains through sci-fi. Yes. I shared it in the Feast of Fandoms chat, and the Borg Queen contacts him, and she's complaining because the Borg assimilated the Swedish chef from the Muppets. He's like, wait. Did you assimilate the puppet, or did you assimilate the puppet and the guy whose hand is up his butt? And the Queen's like, oh no, my Borgarks are Gundar mating. And he starts speaking like the Swedish chef, and all of a sudden the call cuts out, and he goes, and so the guy turns to his buddy, he's like, we need to talk with tech about making sure that they run a patch to prevent this kind of stuff from happening. This is the third time in 2 weeks.
Have you seen the one where as Deadpool gets sent to the Star Wars universe?
Yes.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Oh, so bad.
I like the Deadpool movies. I tried to get into the Deadpool comics. I just couldn't.
I've heard a lot of people say that.
The comics, yeah, the movies are different because you do have other characters who do, who interact, and it's more ensemble in the cast. But whereas the Deadpool comics are, it's just Deadpool doing what he does and annoying the snot out of anybody. And if there are other characters, they have a very small role in what's happening. Although I do like the fact that, if he goes and visits Spider-Man's house or apartment and Spider-Man isn't there, he will randomly pick a chore that Peter Parker is supposed to do and do that, and then take credit for it.
Okay. To come back to droids, the concept of the battle droids turning on the separatists comes back to something we touched on previously, which there's no way to tell if a droid is betraying you, right? Like, even now, we all know that, in my opinion, Palpatine is awesome and omnipotent and nothing can defeat him. But droids communicating about a plan to betray is going to be done electronically. I don't know that Palpatine could detect that through the Force. Like, everything we know about the Force is like, it's this network of living energy. And I don't, perhaps you guys know more about this than I, but everything I know about the Force, I don't think a plot between droids would really register. You know
well, no,
I mean?
it wouldn't. I mean, you might get some snippets of communiques through electronic means, but if it's coded just the right way and nobody knows how to decipher the code, good luck.
I mean, like, I don't like to use this word too often, but like, what do the midichlorians care about droids? Like, as far as they're concerned, they don't. I don't think droids exist.
I'm wondering if there is. I mean, the only way I could think that would be a smart thing to do is if every droid manufacturer is required by law to put in some sort of a fail-safe shutdown method, so whereby they can automatically just basically press a button and it would shut down every droid in case something like that was to happen, so that they could.
Seems like that would be a good idea.
Yeah.
They could call
and
it
that's also probably the role of a restraining bolt.
Well, and that, if you look at what happened with the battle droids on Naboo, once you took out the control ship, they all shut down, and that's because there's a failsafe. So, doing a search, it says yes, Star Wars droids in Star Wars are generally designed with built-in failsafes, behavioral inhibitors, and strict programming constraints to ensure they remain obedient servants to organic beings. These constraints typically prevent them from harming sentient life unless they're specifically designed as fourth-degree assassin or security droids or battle droids. So yeah, you can have behavioral inhibitors, you can have restraining bolts. Obviously, the memory wipes help with that.
Yeah.
But ultimately, it comes down to whether or not the droid is programmed. Because, like, if you've got a character like 000, or you've got all these battle droids and security droids that do have a modicum of permission to harm an organic being, they're going to use that. And
I mean, 000 can't wait. It's not just that he has permission to. He loves it.
Oh yeah,
he's so cheerful about it.
Well, and the other thing is that all it does is like just about any of these droids. I mean, here's a great example, and I think a lot of this comes down to not having any memory wipes. But R2-D2 is a great example of he is given instruction, and he will make it happen in the most creative way possible.
Mm-hmm.
Because for the duration of the time we see R2, he demonstrably knows better than any organic he ever interacts with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, yeah,
it can't argue with success.
No, you can't. But at the same time, he is, he like, I don't know why he never got reprogrammed. Because that, like, for me, like, this feels like a huge security risk, because you've got this character that knows exactly who Anakin Skywalker is, and nobody's bothering to ask him.
I feel like he's pretended that he has been memory wiped several times.
He may be pretending, sure, but
he's probably gotten 3PO to cover for him. He's like, "Oh yeah, they memory wiped, totally memory wiped. We just got done."
Oh, it wouldn't
like,
take.
Oh yes, they've just memory wiped this unit, sir. We're just leaving. And R2's like, "This guy, so you can't just believe anything."
Yeah, well, I mean, 3PO is a useful idiot, so.
Is he though?
Well, he's not dumb in the intelligence sense. He doesn't know when he's being toyed with.
I think that 3PO is a more successful version of Jar Jar Binks. 3PO is the first iteration of the Jar Jar character. He's that archetype for the original.
He's the Flanders character.
Yeah. And I think that's what they were shooting for with Jar Jar, and I don't care for 3PO, honestly. I don't.
Yeah, neither do I.
I think he's sort of an undeserving mascot of the franchise. Like, why are you in every movie? You bring very little.
Well, because at some point you're going to want to know how he got that red arm.
No, I have that comic book. It is not interesting.
So exactly how did he get his red arm?
Acid rain.
That's it.
Yes, he was in a cave with another droid. The other droid sacrificed itself so 3PO could live. That arm was all that was left of the other droid. 3PO took the arm and used it as like a tribute. It's not interesting.
That is
not worth buying a comic book. I was mad at it.
That is awful.
I know. Anyway. I'm glad we touched on droids again, because I do think it's an interesting topic, and they feature more heavily in Star Wars than most other franchises. There's not nearly so many robots in like Star Trek or Babylon 5. I don't
never watched Babylon 5, so I wouldn't know.
No, not really a lot. I mean, there's computers, but not a lot of robots.
But Stargates doesn't have any of that. I mean, Battlestar Galactica, obviously, but it's kind of a different thing. So droids are much more a part of the ecosystem, as it were, in Star Wars. It's an interesting topic to me, because I was one of those kids growing up. I wanted a robot best friend. Like, that's just like my goal.
See, when I was a kid, I wanted basically a robot clone, so that I could program to go to school for me and do all my schoolwork, and then I could go play with my friends. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And then it would be just cinch enough that it could, pass for me, but then I could turn it off when I got home, and it would just be in the closet.
Yeah, that would be pretty cool.
Yeah.
I feel like I should also admit that I did write a story about Darth Vader traveling through time to convince the Debbie Rathall to go to the prom with me. And he may have also killed a few members of the football team, but it's not important.
That sounds like a twisted version of something I've seen in a movie from 1985.
Gotta stop.
Not sure why. Not sure why. Seems familiar.
I do think it's interesting. Do you think so? Now that I think about it, droids really do play a large part of the storyline in Star Wars. Do you think that Lucas's early film history, his experience watching Film League and Metropolis and all that, do you think that factored in there? I think 3PO is obviously a callback.
Oh yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Because just you look at the design with the gold and the automaton look, it's quite similar. And you look at the old Ralph McQuarrie drawings, it looks exactly like something that you would have seen in that film.
Yeah.
So I would say it. I mean, he drew from so many things like Seven Samurai and various other samurai films. He drew from Arthurian legend. I mean, if you look at Luke's story arc right down to a T, it's Uther Pendragon and Arthur.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Pulling the lightsaber out of the stone.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would not put it past him to have picked up some stuff from those earlier viewings, those other precursor films.
Something interesting you mentioned too. I always find that interesting about Star Wars tech. I think I've mentioned this on the show too, but you mentioned the 000 personality matrix was developed thousands of years before the Galactic Empire. That's kind of a trope we see in Star Wars a lot. Like it's like technology froze 10,000 years ago, right? Like we go back 10,000 years in time, and we see characters using laser blasters and traveling through hyperspace and droids and lightsabers, and like it's all the same stuff, right? Like some of it looks different, like different shaped ships, but it's all still there.
Well, I mean, think of it in terms of tropes. I mean, look at a great reversal of this is Game of Thrones. Why is it that the technology for battle and warfare has not progressed since medieval times?
Yeah, that's true.
No. There's an actual answer to this.
Oh, okay.
Dragons.
Oh, all right.
What are you going to develop that's more powerful than a living, breathing, fireball?
That's true.
Yeah.
Nothing can account for that. I mean, yeah, you've got like another example would be Harry Potter. Most of their aesthetic comes from 17th, 18th, and 19th centuries, as far as the way that they dress and their styles and all that. They have no need to look modern because they don't do anything modern. Most modern technology fails around magical environments like the Ministry of Magic or Hogwarts. Because the magical field is just too strong. It wipes out the technology.
Have you read that Rowling came out and, apropos of nothing, announced that wizards didn't use toilets until like the 1800s?
Yeah, that showed up somewhere on
her website, or she's just like, oh, by the way, wizards just it
wasn't just like,
why do we need to know this?
It wasn't. Well, I mean, everyone used a chamber pot, but like as far as like standardized flushed, plumbing and all that, it was a different matter altogether because they just didn't need to adopt it for right away.
Right.
Because, I mean, yeah, you could go to a privy and cop a squat and fine, whatever. You've got a house elf who's going to clean it up for you, or you can whisk it away with magic. Why use flush plumbing?
Right.
Because, I mean, where's in the castle? Where's it gonna go?
Good question.
Who like? Why do they even need plumbing at that point? Why do they need electricity? They've got electricity. How? Why? It makes
that
no
reminds me a little bit. We touched on Stargate. In Stargate Atlantis, we meet a lot of planets that are under the thrall of the Wraith, which basically allow these sort of medieval civilizations to get to a certain level of development, and then they just pillage them. And so that, which kind of speaks to why we only ever meet Shakespearean level populaces in those shows.
Well, the other thing is, I mean, you look at Star Wars, and we keep seeing the same technology tens of thousands of years later, and I think it comes to a point where everything has been done, and the technology has evolved to a certain point where you don't need anything else.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think you said it before several months ago, or maybe someone else said, I don't remember. but the technology, I think it was when we were talking about our when we were talking about light speed and hyperspace and the hyperspace generators, like that technology is tens of thousands of years old.
Mm-hmm.
Why remake the wheel?
Yeah.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it. They know how to repair it. They know how to build new ones, but they can't you don't see any improvements on that.
Right.
The best we get is in Ahsoka when they build the massive hyperspace engine to go to that other galaxy. And that's the bulk of it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's just interesting to me how we're stuck in this this time period. Like even when they introduced us something new, like Kylo Ren's lightsaber, we learn that that's an ancient design that Kylo Ren revived.
Well, I think also it's a matter of, if you look throughout the history of the Star Wars universe, you have more times where there is war than when there is peace.
Right.
And if you notice the biggest time where you say any type of technological improvement or aesthetic improvement is during the times of the High Republic and the Republic, when there is some modicum of peace, which goes to, if you look at even in society, sometimes the biggest innovations come during times of peace where people have more leisure time to come up with ideas to improve life and improve quality of life. Whereas during wartime, you're going to see more improvement in obviously military and
weaponry,
bigger ships, bigger guns with the Star Wars universe. So I think that's a lot of it. Is there's just the Star Wars universe is constantly at war.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, it's called Star Wars.
Yeah.
I think it's kind of in the name.
That's true. That's true.
So yeah, and well, I mean, it's kind of an interesting thing because like there's a huge gap in the need to do anything other than what's already there. Human beings, and I guess this can translate over to alien beings as well. We find the path of least resistance. If we've got something that works and we know how to repair it, we know how to make it, how to make new ones. For the most part, we're pretty good about that. We're pretty ingenious like that. It takes a lot more time and energy to. What is that sound, Brian?
Oh, sorry.
What was that?
That I was just making an adjustment on my microphone.
Oh, okay.
I should have muted it first.
Like path of least resistance is a common thing, and why do anything different? I mean, yeah, you can make a great new version of a Battledroid. It's a little bit sleeker, has better maneuverability, fewer weaknesses, better armor.
Transparent plastic.
Yeah, but I mean, at some point, it's going to be the exact same thing that's been done before with just a few improvements. You don't really have to make it brand new. And the other part of it is that if you can find a way of making an entire subclass of beings, artificial or organic, whatever you choose, who are capable of doing the things that you don't want to do personally.
Yeah.
I mean, let's just be honest. The clones during the Clone Wars were essentially the organic response to what had already been done with technology 30,000 years.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, even designs for different things, again, like you said, if it's not broke, don't fix it. If you look at designs of like the Venator class Star Destroyer, then you evolve that up to the Imperial class and the Executor class. It's basically the same design. They just got bigger and got different materials to build it.
Just stack another Star Destroyer on top of it.
Well, even with in today's world, if you look at ship design, the overall, especially if you look at like aircraft carriers, a little bit different because you have the flat top, but for like destroyers and battleships, it's basically, you can see the whole design is very similar. If you go back to the old sailing ships to on, they just kind of streamlined it, but it's basically a very similar design.
Yeah, there's nothing new.
Yeah.
I mean, you look at, and you go into, I mean, you take a look at some of the sci-fi that's out there now. You look at, for example, Aliens, and what do the ships all look like?
Boxes.
No. You take a look at the Sulaco from Aliens from 1986,
yeah,
or 1987, whenever that came out. It looked like a gun. If you look at the profile of the Sulaco, it looks like a big walking gun.
Yeah.
All right.
If you look at some of the ships from the human ships from Halo, they look like big guns. And the forward operating weapon on those ships in Halo is a huge Mac cannon.
I should tell you, I've not played 1 minute of one game of Halo.
You're missing out, buddy. You're missing out. Anyway, my point is that ship designs don't change much because there's no need to. If they're suiting their purpose, again, why reinvent the wheel?
Yeah.
So, still doesn't make any sense why Starfleet has their ships looking the way they do, but whatever.
Hey, don't.
Structurally, it just doesn't seem sound. Like, I mean, I get why in the actual canon that they had to be built in space because there's no way they'd be able to break atmosphere very well.
Yeah. I don't know.
Structural stresses would just be too much, but yeah. Anyway, but yeah.
Why does the dish always have to pop off?
Because everyone wants that flying saucer feel.
Makes sense.
Although, to be fair, that was never included until Next Generation when they did that saucer separation.
Yeah.
First time that happened, everybody's mind just went.
I remember. I was there.
Happen? It just wouldn't have looked right.
I am never not in the middle of a rewatch of Lower Decks at this point now. Just like that's just always
watch that.
Always somewhere in the middle of Lower Decks. Usually season 4 somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, to briefly address what I missed last week, I have just started the new novel Master of Evil.
Oh, I gotta start that one.
I'm always sort of paging through the Rise and Fall of the Galactic Empire. It's an amazing textbook. Really, really enjoy that. And always happy to pick up Darth Plagueis anywhere and just start reading that one.
Yeah. I'm just finishing up reading a book called X-Wing Mercy Kill, which is really good. It deals with Wraith Squad, a group called Wraith Squadron, which are a X-Wing squadron founded by, of course, Wedge Antilles, because anything to do with X-Wings, he, the expanded universe, he kind of started. But they deal with more espionage, spy, and they are led by one of the leading members is a Grammarian who has been heavily modified. He's had several. They hint that he'd been medically worked on, and the enhancements made him a genius level intelligence. Nice. At one point, when he quits Wraith Squadron and they're kind of getting the band back together, he is teaching math at a college. So you have a Grammarian teaching math.
That classroom on the first day, like, come on, who's messing with me?
Yep.
But he also has a special implant that he has that allows him to be able to speak basic, to translates his grunts into
because they can. Basic. That's cool.
Yeah, basic. But it's really good. It takes place. It's in the old legends, and it takes place 44 years after the Battle of Yavin.
That's cool.
Yeah,
sounds good.
And I'm just about starting to get ready to read the Revan novel.
Nice. I had the Oh, you guys heard what I read last time. That was the Tales from the Dark Side version. It's the short stories and vignettes. Anyway, yeah, I'm not currently working through any Star Wars books at the moment, but Master of Evil is definitely one of the ones that I have in my to be read file. I just got to get through a couple of others first. Right now, I'm currently listening through very slowly, unfortunately, but I'm listening through A View to a Kill, or no, sorry, For Your Eyes Only, by Ian Fleming.
Who reads that?
The audiobook is being narrated by Johnny Flynn.
Don't know.
Let me see if I can pull something up on him.
We are currently reading the Beezus and Ramona books by Beverly Cleary. The audiobooks are read by Stockard Channing, which is very cool.
Interesting note. Probably about 10, 11 years ago, I was in a play, a theater version, stage version of Tales of a Fourth Grade Nothing.
Oh, wow.
And
Cool.
I was the dad.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. I don't know what Johnny Flynn's been in. I just looked him up, but he's done a bunch of stuff, mostly in Britain. And
If he's reading Ian Fleming novels, yeah, he's probably that's pretty British.
he's originally from South Africa. He was born in Johannesburg, but he's mostly raised in the UK because he doesn't sound like he's got a Jayburg accent. But he has done some big American roles. Like he had roles in Real Steel, Bohemian Rhapsody, The Kingdom, Cedar Rapids. So I probably wouldn't be able to pick him out of a lineup, but I like the way he's reading it. I was going through a particular series of James Bond novels where the art had all been done the same, and each person who was reading was like a really well-known actor. A lot of them who have been in Bond films, like Rory Kinnear, and like he played M's assistant in the last couple of Daniel Craig films.
Cool.
And then like the version of Casino Royale that I listened to was narrated by Dan Stevens.
Excellent.
Yeah, it was really fun. So
The books I've been reading, a lot of them have been narrated by a guy named Mark Thompson. Who does a really good. He's done a really good job of doing and making it feel more like an audio drama than just an audio book. Which is one thing
he does a lot of Star Wars books.
He adds. He did the Aftermath trilogy. He did the few others I've read that he's done, but yeah, I like the fact that he'll do like change characters' voices. He'll do sound effects.
Did he do Dark Disciple?
I don't know if he did. I haven't got that. I haven't read that one yet. I'll have to.
Yeah. Well, cool. I think that brings us to the end of our discussion today.
Yeah.
Good to be back with you guys.
Yeah.
It was good to have you back.
What are we covering next week?
Well, good question. Next week, we're going to be talking. We're going to be jumping back into lore, and we're going to be talking about the Jedi, not Jedi.
Lightsabers with power packs.
Yes, lightsabers with power packs.
Actually, no.
Very old.
That isn't interesting because no. They did not. The Jedi did not have that, but we'll touch about that when we get there.
Yes,
Excellent.
we will.
I stand pre-corrected.
All right, Brian, why don't you tell the good folks out there where they can connect with you?
Excellent. They can connect with me on the Sith Library and Archives, a lovingly curated collection of dark side, Imperial, First Order, and just generally evil artwork, philosophy, and conversation. You can find us on Facebook, the Sith Library and Archives. Come see us.
All right. As for me, you guys can find me on Instagram and X at GKJ_publishing, where I talk about my books. I also talk about my show on YouTube called The Right Way, where we talk book recommendations, author interviews, and creative writing tips. I do have a new episode of my video essay series Finding Fiction coming out on Saturday the 31st. That is going to be a look at the James Bond series, speaking of which, and my affinity for it and the things that I thought work well. And so I'm looking forward for people to see that. In the meantime, we just had a new episode of Snackame drop on Feast of Phantoms this last Friday. So go check it out. It was a lot of fun working on that. And we'll have a new episode coming up here in just a few weeks.
Awesome. All right. Oh. Anyway, as for us right here, if you're going to get a hold of us, you can do so by going right here to the email that is warthestars1@gmail.com. All other social media is at warthestars77. Check us out. We're starting to do some fun stuff over there. We're going to start doing some polls, some questions, and just stuff like that over there. So check that out. Also, we are on Spotify. Check us out on Spotify. Just go to War of the Stars, search War of the Stars, a Star Wars podcast. You'll be able to find us there, or wherever fine podcasts are heard. If you want to support the show, Ko-fi.com/War of the Stars, or go to Spreadshirt.com/shop/War of the Stars and check out the cool merch there. We, as Garrett, I can speak words now. We are a proud member of Feast of Fandoms. Check out all the shows of Feast of Fandoms. Every type of fandom you can think of. You can find us there. Also, huge announcement. We are officially going to be a part of the Star Wars Podcast Day on February 7th. We will be doing a show for that. Probably not on that date, but we will be recording as close as we can to that date. We're officially part of that. We have been a part of that since the very beginning. And once again, we are proud to be a part of Star Wars Podcast Day coming up next month. So be listening for that show. That will about do it for this week. As always, remember, this is not just my Star Wars. This is not just your Star Wars. This is our Star Wars. May the Force be with you.